Okay, welcome to today's tutorial. In this video, we're looking at fallacy, right? So the word fallacy is derived from the Latin word fallo, and the word means to be deceived. Fallacy simply means error in reasoning. Error in reasoning. According to Copy, fallacy is an argument that may seem correct, but which proves upon examination not to be so. It's an argument that may seem correct, but which proves upon examination not to be so, right? So we have two major classes of fallacy. We have the formal fallacy and the informal fallacy. The formal fallacy is also known as the logical fallacy, while the informal fallacy is also known as the material fallacy, right? So let's look at the formal fallacy. Formal fallacy, also known as the logical fallacy, is a type of fallacy which results from the structure of a proposition. It results from the structure of a proposition. A proposition is simply a statement that can be true or false. Any statement that can be true or false is a proposition, right? So examples of the formal fallacy or the logical fallacy, there are five basically. We have amphiboly, equivocation, accent, composition, and division. These are the five major types or examples of formal or logical fallacy, right? So let's take each of them. So first we have amphiboly. So amphiboly is a type of logical fallacy or formal fallacy which results from the deliberate manipulation of the meaning of words in a proposition. It results from deliberate manipulation of the meaning of words in a proposition. For example, flying planes can be dangerous. This is a proposition, right? Flying planes can be dangerous. So this can mean two things. It can mean that the act of flying planes can be dangerous, or it can mean that planes that are flying can be dangerous, right? So any type of fallacy that results from the deliberate manipulation of the meaning of words in a proposition, that fallacy is fallacy of amphiboly, right? So there is deliberate manipulation of the meaning of flying planes can be dangerous in this proposition, right? So again, amphiboly is a type of formal fallacy which results from the deliberate manipulation of the meaning of words in a proposition. For example, in this proposition, flying planes can be dangerous. It can mean that the act of flying planes can be dangerous, or planes that are flying in air can be dangerous, right? So it means two different things. So this is fallacy of what? Of amphiboly. Then the other type of fallacy that we have is equivocation, and it results from the use of a particular word or expression in multiple senses within a proposition. It results from the use of a particular word or expression in multiple senses within a proposition. Like I said before, a proposition is a statement that can be true or false, right? So when you use a particular word or a particular expression in multiple senses within a proposition, that fallacy is fallacy of equivocation. So for instance, a feather is light. A feather is light. So someone might conclude that therefore a feather is not dark. So there is this word light here can be used in multiple senses, right? It can be used in multiple ways. So a feather is light. We are not talking about light here, but we are talking about not being heavy. So somebody that is concluding that therefore a feather is not dark, this is fallacy of what? Of equivocation, because light here does not imply light. It implies that it is not heavy, right? So another example, let's look at this proposition. All banks are beside rivers. All banks are beside rivers. So somebody that is concluding that therefore the financial institution where I keep my money must be beside the river. What they are referring to here, the bank they are referring to here, is not the financial institution but the bank of a river, right? So this is an error in reasoning. This is a fallacy of equivocation. So again, equivocation is a type of logical fallacy which results from the use of a particular word or expression in multiple senses within a proposition, right? So let's look at accent. Accent is a type of formal or logical fallacy which results when a statement can bear different meaning depending on the word that is stressed. It is a type of logical fallacy or is a type of formal fallacy which results when a statement can bear different meaning depending on the word that is what stressed. So for example, he didn't write the test yesterday. You can see that this word didn't is stressed, right? So whenever you are answering any question and you see that a particular word there is stressed, check out for the fallacy of what? Of accent. So fallacy of accent is a type of logical fallacy which results from when a statement can bear different meanings depending on which word is stressed. So an example, he didn't write the test yesterday. It may be that he didn't write the test yesterday because he was sick. It may be that because he traveled. It may be that because he didn't prepare for it. So all these are fallacy of what? Of accent, right? So let's look at division. Fallacy of division is a type of logical fallacy or formal fallacy which results when one assumes that something that is true of a whole thing, something that is true of a whole thing, of an entire thing, must also be true of all or some of its parts. For example, Nigeria is a corrupt nation, therefore her citizens are corrupt. So this is fallacy. This is a fallacy of division. That Nigeria is a corrupt nation does not mean that all her citizens are corrupt, right? So that something is true of a whole thing does not mean that it is true of all its parts, right? So this is fallacy of division. Then let's look at the last type of formal fallacy that we have, which is the fallacy of composition. So the fallacy of composition is a type of formal fallacy which results when one assumes that something true of some part of a thing is also true for a whole thing. Something that is true for some part of a thing is also true of a whole thing. So it's the opposite of what? Of the fallacy of division. So for example, every part of this machine is light in weight. So look at this machine. There is a statement here that every part of the machine is light in weight. So therefore, this machine as a whole must be light in weight. So that every part of the machine is light in weight does not mean that the entire machine, the whole machine is light in weight. So this is error. This is an error in reasoning. So this is the fallacy of what? Of composition, right? So fallacy, like I said, is derived from the Latin word fallo, and it means to be deceived. So fallacy simply means error in reasoning. It simply means error in reasoning. And according to Copy, fallacy is an argument that may seem correct, but which proves upon examination not to be so. So this is the definition according to Copy. You must remember this. According to Copy, fallacy can be defined as an argument that may seem correct, but which proves upon examination not to be so. And we looked at basically two classes of fallacy. We have the formal or logical fallacy and the informal or material fallacy. So we've looked at the five major examples or types of formal fallacy, also known as logical fallacy, right? Next, we're going to look at the material or informal fallacy. So the material fallacy is also known as informal fallacy, and it is a fallacy which results or which arises from the subject matter of a proposition. It arises from the subject matter of a proposition. In formal fallacy or logical fallacy, it results from the structure of a proposition. Here it results from the subject matter of a proposition. So know the difference between material fallacy and what? And formal fallacy. So formal fallacy results from the structure of a proposition. of a proposition, right? While the informal material fallacy results from the subject matter of what? Of a proposition. And like I said before, a proposition is a statement that can be true or false. Any statement that can be true or false is a proposition. For example, he is a boy. It can be true or false. That is a proposition, right? So, material or informal fallacy is a type of fallacy which results or which arises from the subject matter of a proposition. Examples are ad hominem, ad baculum, ad populum, ad ignorantiam, poisoning the well, ad verecundiam, ad misericordiam, false analogy, false cause, ignoratio elenchi, and lastly, non sequitur, right? So these are the 11 major material or informal fallacy that we have. So we're going to look at each of these in our next video. Thank you very much for listening. God bless.